In episode 12.3 of Unshuffled, we're on to the third album from All Them Witches. It's called Dying Surfer Meets His Maker. Let's have a listen. Welcome, listeners. Welcome to Unshuffled. Nice to have you with us. Whether it's your first time or you're a regular listener, we always have a bit of fun, and I hope you enjoy the show. I'm your host, Matt. Joining me, as he always does, and he's going to introduce the album that we're talking about today. This is Mr. Scotty D, my man in Japan. How are you, Scotty?
Yes, sir. Doing good. Thank you, Matt. How are you?
Fantastic.
All right. Let's get into this. We're on album 3 of All Them Witches, and this one is Dying Surfer Meets His Maker. This one came out on October 30th of 2015, so that puts it, like 2 years, year and a half after the second one. It was produced by Mikey Allred, who has also I was looking him up, and I thought I had the information loaded. I do not. But anyway, the guy runs a studio that if you and I wanna, I found all the information that we could record an album if we wanted to with Mikey.
Love to. Let's do it.
The label's on New West Records, and here's what I found. And recorded in a cabin on a hill in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Yeah, I believe it genuinely was a cabin on a hill.
Okay. All right.
Have you been to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee?
No, I don't think I've ever been to Tennessee, actually.
Ah.
No. But I can put a destination vacation.
Yeah, do it. This was the first on this record label, wasn't it? This is sort of made
right?
it.
Yeah, you might be right.
And then they re-released some of their older ones on this new label.
Yeah. That's what I think happened, because the last one, Lightning at the Door, was released originally in 2013 on Tone Tree Music and then re-released after this one on New West. So, yeah, they must have, yes, that's what happened, what you just said.
Yep.
And then the album artwork is drummer Robbie Stebler.
Again.
We're getting ahead of ourselves, but in real time, 2025, he's not in the band anymore, right?
No, he's not.
Okay. So that'll be a conversation we have, or will we have? Has he?
We will, because they're recording a new album now. So at some point, we'll have to do that, the new one.
All right. So
you like the cover?
Yeah, I do. In fact, this is my favorite of their covers so far.
Yeah, I agree with you there. If you look carefully enough, you can actually see them sitting in a sort of rocky landscape.
Oh, the band's in there?
Yeah. If you look very carefully where I'm pointing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at them.
You'll have to do that yourself, listeners. But they are sitting amongst some rocks.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all got some monochrome effects. The sky has been blacked out, and there's a sort of psychedelic etching in the sky. I really like this cover too. It's cool. And unlike the last one, I think the CD packaging is a little more worthwhile on this one. It comes with a little booklet, which doesn't have the lyrics. In fact, it's okay, because there's not actually many lyrics on the album anyway. It's very light on lyrics. A lot of instrumentals. We'll get into that. But the CD booklet's just a series of sort of photographs, often kind of blurry, photographs of the band, and what looks like artwork by, I assume that's by the drummer as well.
That looks cool. Look at
go back
to the first one.
Like a mask.
Yeah. Like one of the sort of luchador.
Yeah. Some sort of animals and And the photos are quite artistic too. I don't know who takes the photos, but yeah, nicely packaged.
Do you have the other album at your hand?
No,
Oh.
the last one.
I was just
No,
wondering which version you have. Like
I
if that explains the lack of.
no, I've got the re-released version,
Oh,
but
okay.
I guess they just didn't really bother with
Hmm.
putting in too much. One other thing to note about the CD cover is that there is definitely a distinction between the side one and side two tracks in the track listing. So there's a clear break between
Ah, see.
the
Okay.
first
Yeah.
four tracks, which is not actually what I would have thought.
Hmm.
I actually thought mellowing
Yeah.
might have been the end of side one, but according to this, it's the start of side two.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Uh huh. Uh-huh.
That's gonna get us sued. Uh, we can't afford that. I actually no. That makes sense to me that mellowing's the start of side two.
Right. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. We'll get into some of the more detail on the tracks in a moment. Line up of the band, Scotty.
Yeah. Ben. Okay, so sorry. The band has stayed the same here throughout. We've got Ben McLeod on guitar and vocals, Charles Michael Parks Jr. on bass and vocals, and then synth bass as well, right?
Yep.
And then he's got an 8 string, which who knew? And then
Well, no,
Alan.
actually, Charles. Sorry to interrupt. Charles Parks doesn't have credit for the synth bass. That goes to your man Alan Van
Oh,
Cleve,
okay, that would make sense.
and then there's another guy, Mickey Allred.
Um, Mikey Allred's the producer.
Yeah, so he
Okay,
also gets synth bass
got it, got it, got it. Okay.
credits on some of them.
Um,
Call Me Star and Welcome to the Caveman Future.
Alan Van Cleve is doing the Rhodes keyboard.
Hmm.
This man does it all on this album.
Yeah,
I don't mean to tip my hand right now, but if there's an all star on this album, it's him.
yeah,
He's got the Rhodes. He's doing the harmonica. He plays the violin, fiddle.
yeah. Certainly violin. I've got a different harmonica player on my CD. It says Mickey Raphael is the harmonica. On this is where it falls apart.
Oh,
For what it's worth.
all right
Uh,
then. Sorry, Mickey, to steal your thunder.
there's a lot of Mickeys on this. Mickeys, Mikeys.
And then we got Robbie Stebler on drums and designing album covers.
Yep. So yeah, I mean a fairly consistent lineup, really, with certainly the core of the band. Okay, so that's the lineup. That's the artwork. Let's start
Yes, sir.
talking about the songs, huh?
Let's do it.
As we always do, listeners, we have four. Well, not always, as we have done for the last year or so. We have four categories of song just to help focus our discussion. We'll be talking about the opener, so we'll both have a chat about that in a moment. We'll both nominate our favourite track off the album, The Killer. We'll nominate a grower, the song that obviously has grown on us as we've listened to it more and more. And I don't know about you, but I've listened to this a lot, this album. And filler, which sometimes we shirk the filler, but I am going to nominate a filler song today.
I suspect it's probably the same one.
We'll see. Let's start with the opener anyway.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts on that one, Scotty. What do you think of "Call Me Star," the first song on the album?
Okay, so this album, and I know we usually reserve this conversation till the end, but this album is great. I really, really, really enjoyed this album.
Yep.
And I was looking for that article that you had sent me and the way that they describe. Here it is. Okay. This is from premierguitar.com. They describe it as fuzz riddled explosions of darkness that never trample the Southern Gothic vibe. Talks about free ranging guitar and bass in an unexpected bed of Rhodes piano. That's it. Like, I feel like this opening track perfectly captures that. The intro it's pretty. There's this acoustic guitar, the singing, the volume swells from the electric guitar. The bass and drums has sort of this breezy feel. There's an interlude at around the 1 minute mark, and I expected the song based on their last two albums. I really expected the song to kind of just like open up and take like a heavy turn, and it didn't. There's this sort of like tension where it's like building up, building up, building up, and it gets more percussive, but it stays constant. And I think as far as sort of setting the vibe, setting the tone for what this album is going to be, this song does that perfectly.
Yeah, well described. I also wrote very restrained, and I think that's the art of restraint is an important one for a band, and this band's very good at it. Lots of space here, nicely recorded, very clear separation with all the instruments, and I think part of that feeling of things growing and building comes when that synth bass sound comes in, that really deep synthy bass, which on this track is played by the producer apparently. Mickey Allred plays the synth bass on Call Me Star. Great opener, and yeah, well described by you. I don't have a lot to add. Nice, gentle vocals. Kind of sings one word at a time. So
Yeah, he really is sort of making the most out of like there's not a lot of words as you said earlier, but he's kind of making the most out of what he's got.
yeah, they feel very weighty and meaningful. Yeah. So great opener. There are a couple of songs contending for the killer, but in the end, there was just one that I kept coming back to, and that was track 8, which is Talisman. Not only the best song on the album, I think this is the best song of the 3 that we've listened to so far. I think this is still played live regularly as well, and with good reason. It's a great song. I mean, the first 4 minutes are amazing, but then I guess there's some similarities between the song we just spoke about in the first 4 minutes, but then the last 2 minutes of this song are where it kicks into another gear, and it has this big this big climactic finish, especially when there's a guitar that just rips through near the end. Ben McLeod's great on this album. I seem to be an album behind you with this band. So I think you identified Ben McLeod on the first album, then I started noticing him more on the second album. But again, here I think he's great, and I've started watching some of his videos as well. He's got a little YouTube channel where he does tutorials about some of these songs. He seems like a really thought. He puts a lot of thought into his craft. But yeah, his guitar solo towards the end here, it just sort of rips through. And there's a callback. There's a few times in this album where there's links between songs, and there's a part towards the end of this song which repeats a strain that we heard in a previous song, which we haven't spoken about yet, called Open Passageways. We'll probably speak about that at some point. But I love the fact that there's a link between those two songs, so that when you hear it, it kind of almost sounds familiar. Fantastic song. Really enjoyed it. Love the way it leads into the next song as well, which I might talk about a little bit later. So an excellent song. And like the second last song on the album, that's often a weak spot, but I thought that was the killer on this occasion.
It's usually where the filler goes.
That's exactly right.
Well, I can't add anything more to what you've said.
What's your killer?
Well, my killer is the next song.
Aha.
It's Blood and Sand, Milk and Endless Waters.
Right.
This one, I even broke this down in my analysis into like the 4 parts, and Anyway, so it's got this cool swampy kind of that Southern Gothic that Premier Guitar was referring to feel in the beginning. Um, the bass is awesome on the song. The slides and the pushes that he does during the verses really drive this song. And there's like a smoothness to the slides. And I mentioned that. I think there's another song where I talk about sort of like just there's a smoothness to the way the bass sounds. It's the perfect end to closing out this album. I love the transitions where it goes from sort of the first part is that swampy guitar, the second part becomes guitar only and it's more melodic. The third part, the drums, the bass, the vocals all come in, and then the fourth part is the Alan Van Cleve show. You just step back and let him go. The fiddle comes in, and I absolutely love what the fiddle does to this song. I don't even know if I don't know at what point the threshold goes from violin to fiddle. To be honest with you, I'm calling it fiddle because it's Southern Gothic, but I don't know which side of the line it's on. Um, it's and the one thing that I have, and I'll come up with this again when I talk about the lyrics, but is this a love song? Like, am I
Oh,
oversimplifying it? The lyrics are about sort of like creating an idol or a cult figure, but is it that, or is it a
you
love
think it's a
song?
metaphor? Yeah, I
Oh,
hadn't I hadn't looked I hadn't considered the possibility of a deeper meaning. I just took it at face value as this sort of idol worshipping tribe or cult or whatever it is. Um, Sort of spoken lyrics, but yeah, I mentioned Ben McLeod's um, YouTube tutorial videos. He does one on this. So on the first half of this, on the Blood and Sand. So this is kind of two songs in one.
right.
Um, Blood and Sand mixed with Milk and Endless Waters. Apparently, Blood and Sand was written by Ben McLeod a long time before All Them Witches was even a thing. And in his tutorial video, he speaks about recording it on when he lived in some friend's apartment or something, and he played it on his little Peavey amp, which he spoke very highly of his little Peavey.
Hmm.
Um, I guess a lot of people, that's the first amp for a lot of people,
That was mine. I had a
yeah,
gorilla.
right.
Yeah, it was just this little PV. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think because of that, I think a lot of people have a sort of nostalgia for their old PV amp because it's the
Hmm.
first thing they hear, when they first their chops are coming together. And it was I think Entombed. I think the whole Stockholm sound for death metal, that was just through an overloaded. That was just like a heavy metal two pedal turned up with everything turned up as far as it goes through this cheap PV amp as well. So I guess
Awesome.
to the point where it's just overloaded and couldn't handle the sound, and something magical came out of it. So I think PV, um, they're not spoken about as one of the great amp companies, but I guess musicians owe a lot to PV. But yeah, I mean, this is my grower, so I'm going to talk about it too. And I love the way. And for a long time, because I've been sort of wandering around. It's been Christmas. I've had some time off. I was wandering. We're in Bologna, so I was going for walks and just listening without knowing when one track started and the other ended. And I couldn't. It felt like it was just a kind of continued fake false ending of the previous song. Like it really flowed well from the previous song. It felt like quite a whole. It all goes together. And this is one of the nice things about listening to an album is you get that. Sometimes you get those moments where it all just works together from one track to the next. And yeah, it flows really well from the previous track. The bass line you mentioned, and we were talking about the strings on that bass before we started recording the. What did you call it? Half round or something?
I didn't call it that. They called it that.
They call it half round. But yeah, great song and a fantastic finish to this. These last two songs are incredible. So yeah, I can't speak highly enough of the whole second half, really, of this album. So this is where I'm catching up to you from last album, because you're saying, oh, it's all about side two with this band. And now I've finally cottoned on, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the second half, the second side of this album is incredible, and those last two songs are just, top shelf.
Okay, so I'm actually going to continue in the vein of everything that you're talking about.
Right.
My grower is Open Passageways / Instrumental 2. And
Okay.
and it's exactly what you were saying though. I feel like these two songs, why not put them together? I mean they didn't, but why not put them together? They seem to work together so well. With Open Passageway, I think when I was listening to this, I was like, who do they sound like? As I was listening to this song, and I kept trying to think of who they sound like. And I kind of just landed on, I think they sound like themselves. I don't know who they sound like. I can't pinpoint it on this album. It does feel it feels original. It feels like an original sound. Again, there's this song, there's this heaviness, they get so much out of the acoustic guitar. I mean, there's just this Southern Gothic is the only way to describe it. There's this sort of heaviness out of this acoustic guitar, out of these sort of like typically more kind of, I don't want to say country instruments, but more acoustic based instruments. And there's this just darkness and heaviness that they're able to get out of it. And what they do with the acoustic guitar, what they do again with that violin and fiddle, and the dynamics and the tension, and there's a vibe and a sound to the song that I love, and it continues into the instrumental too. It's just sort of this cool jam that is still playing on that theme of open passageways, where they kind of just start opening up, right? And so there's that tension, that build up in open passageways that just opens up and allows itself for sort of more of a free jam in instrumental two. And then that theme motif of sound comes back again, as you were saying, in Talisman.
Yep. Yeah. No. And I mean, it's a good observation that the heaviness without being heavy is. They mentioned that in that interview, the one where they talk about the gear they use and all that stuff. That was a conscious. I think that was a conscious decision by the band not to, go super into the really heavy sounding guitar. They said everyone's heavy these days, and but the heaviness for them is more about the sort of emotional weight of the song rather than just a big crunching heavy guitar. And it captures it there. I also wrote there that the instrumental seems like an extension of the previous song, and the band. I love the strings in the open passageways, which you mentioned. The band that it wasn't until, and we've spoken about Led Zeppelin quite a bit on the previous album as an influence of this band. I did get Zeppelin vibes on this in the instrumental, particularly that one that go. And I was trying to think. It's everyone, listeners would know this, and I should know it myself. The one that goes na 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 do 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 do. No quarter, is it? I think it's no quarter.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so that was the song that came. It was only then I was thinking the song remains the same, but yeah, it's no quarter. That just my brain just caught up to my thinking from yesterday. Then in that instrumental, I heard a bit of no quarter, but so yeah, great choice. And there's a film called Open Passageways as well, which is also very interesting, and it's a great song. It's not my grower. We've already had my growers, as you heard, so. But loved it and glad we got to speak about it. And yeah, love the link between the explicit link between Open Passageways and Talisman, where they foreshadow the climax of Talisman in Open Passageways. We have avoided filler in recent albums, but is there anything on this that you feel is not quite up to the standard of the rest of it?
You want me to go first?
Yes, please.
Okay. It was mellowing.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I think it was a. You were talking about Zeppelin. It was a pretty tune. It has this Jimmy Page feel to it.
Yeah,
I'm
I wrote the
not.
same thing. Zeppelin-y sound.
I'm not sure what its purpose is on the album. I wasn't sure. Is it a bridge? Is it just an acoustic interlude? It doesn't have sonically. It feels just very different from everything else on this album. It's just it sticks out. It doesn't blend in, which is
Mm.
why I think when you said it was the start of side two, if there was a side two, it's like, okay, maybe it's a bit of a palate cleanser as we
Mm.
get. I'm not sure. Anyway, that if I had to have a filler, that's my filler.
Okay.
So wait, hold up. You were surprised. I went into this assuming that this is the first album in a long time where we've decided that there's a filler and we have different filler.
We have different fella, yeah.
Huh.
Before I reveal mine, just to leave the audience hanging for a moment, a couple of thoughts on mellowing. I too wrote that it's a Zeppelin sound. Uh, I didn't mind it. I'm a sucker for the sound of fingers on sliding on a fretboard, so I love that in a recording to hear the actual. Gives it a real physical aspect to it. It's like the guitarist is there with you, and you can hear them very clearly on this. So I like that. I'm wondering if he wrote this before the band started as well. Maybe it's one of his old ones that he's
Hmm.
dug out from somewhere, and maybe that's why it doesn't quite gel with some of the rest, as you said. One funny thing to note that the lyrics to this are printed on Genius, which we've used sort of become our default lyric um, source lately. But the lyrics are just 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. So I thought that was funny. I didn't mind that one actually. My fill is the second track, El Centro. This is the one that felt out of place for me. This is the heaviest in terms of just what the traditional definition of heavy, like a heavy guitar. It's a very lo-fi recording, so that didn't gel with me compared to some of the really nice recordings on some of the more acoustic-y things. Like you can hear the snare drum rattling,
Hmm.
which I don't mind normally. It's a long, heavy jam. And it comes after the first song, which is completely different, had all that space. And this one is really fuzzy and lo-fi and kind of muddy, I thought, sounding. So it felt a little bit jarring for me. Maybe the problem I have with this is more the song placement. Like just felt like such a strange place to put a song, a long, heavy, fuzzed out jam. Like just when you set us up with this beautiful first track, "Call Me Star," and then all of a sudden, well, we've got 8 minutes of Black Sabbath garage band.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, there's some nice solos. I quite like the solos in the end. If you listen in the headphones, or the solos are all in the right speaker in the end. They're very good solos. I mean, the guy is a great soloist, but overall, I just didn't think. I thought the album lost some momentum early on here. Unfortunately, it soon picked it up, and yeah, as you noted, the second half of the album's superb, and I think the best stuff on this album is clearly the best stuff they've done to this point in their career. But I just thought this one felt strangely placed and not particularly interesting to me.
Uh, so my thoughts on this song. First off, I agree with you. I think it is oddly placed because "Call Me Star" is and I really like. I don't. Dirt Preachers didn't make it to any of my categories, but I really like the song "Dirt Preachers."
Yeah, it's good.
Um, and so you're right. All of a sudden, there's this 8 minute interruption from between two really good songs.
Mm,
Uh, how I felt about this song is that this is a song that I would love to see them perform live. Like this seems like the perfect song that like leads into the encore break, right? Where they jam it out and it's the moment where and then they just set the instruments down and walk off stage and your ears are ringing and it's sort of that moment of regrouping before they come back out with
mm.
the encore. the depth of the way that I was listening to the song, I loved the sound of the toms. I could feel it. It was something I didn't feel like I was listening to it. I was feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I take your point.
Mm. I mean,
I can't.
yes, towards the end of a concert, yes, but not as
Yeah.
you wouldn't want this as the second
No.
track
Right.
at a
Right.
gig either, right?
Yeah. No, I can't. I can't die on the hill of protecting this song. So
Mm.
I take your point.
All right. So interesting that we're both overwhelmingly positive about the album as a whole, but it's the first time we've actually had something slightly negative to say about
Right. Well, and I like
the
mellowing.
song.
It just felt oddly out of place, and maybe it
Yeah,
was because I liked the album so much that I was like, this
yeah,
is
maybe
something.
that's it with El Centro for me. Okay, on that negative note. We'll go back to some positive stuff. Listeners, don't worry, it's a great album. We've got a couple other things to talk about. So, as well as discussing those four categories of song, we also talk about our standout moment on the album, our standout lyric for whatever reason, and our what were they thinking moment if we have one. So, your standout moment, Scotty.
Fiddle. I love it.
Yep.
Every time it comes in, and so specifically because I have to, it's a moment I had to lock it down. I picked the fiddle in near the final jam moment of Open Passageway.
Yeah.
I just, man, I love it. I just every time that comes in on this album, I want more of that.
Mm.
I want more fiddle.
Yeah, it's
It's
good.
awesome.
Agreed. My standout moment is probably just the last two songs. Basically, I know it's not really a moment, but particularly the transition from the end of Talisman into the start of Blood and Sand. Yeah, it's epic. It's really fun. I could just listen to it, and I did. I'd listen to that over and over and over again. It's great. Standout lyric is another one. Another thing to discuss here.
Yeah, notable lyrics. I kind of talked about them in a little bit when I was talking about Blood and Sand. Just, just wondering if there were just certain lines where I was like, "Is this a love song?"
The idol worshipping stuff.
Yeah. It just even the I guess the final part where it's and know that we are intertwined. She rises now to the summit. She bows to cradle it, consuming. We are balanced. We are softly sung to sleep. But the other thing that there's a heavy motif, not in this song actually, but throughout the rest of the album, just a lot of around the idea of light,
Hmm.
right? Call me star, this idea of a crown of light and a star that's fading or
Yep.
growing. There's just this repeated motif of light that kind of
Yeah.
comes through.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't even really discussed the theme of the album, the name of the album, "Dying Surfer Meets His Maker," which I believe came from an actual near death experience with one of the band members when they were surfing. I remember, and I was trying to find this the other day. Something tells me it was in Australia, but I'm not entirely. I couldn't find the evidence to back that up. But I just seem to remember at some point it was in Australia. But maybe that's wrong too.
Aren't there, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are a lot of things that will kill you in Australia.
Yeah, plenty of things. The surf is one of them, and I think that's most reference on in the lyrics to "This Is Where It Falls Apart," where they talk about the center of the beast. And I'm wondering if that's also related to this idol or goddess or whatever this is at the end. Maybe it's something that is beyond this world or something. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, there is. You're right. There is something. They do keep coming back to this idea of some light or something beyond our perception, perhaps. That perhaps dying, or a near-death experience might reveal for you. Do you have a what were they thinking moment? Mine's just what were they thinking putting El Centro as the second track.
I don't, but I'll second that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we don't have any extra tracks tacked on to this one, because that. Can you imagine if they'd finished Blood and Sand and Milk and Endless Waters, and then put a re-recorded version of one of the other songs, or some throwaway?
Yeah. No,
They've, they haven't done that this time, thankfully.
right. I agree. All right. So now that leads us to the band Brownlow. Who won the album? All right. My 1 point goes to Ben McLeod.
Yep.
As always, guitar solos on point. Just guitar sound, the solos, like does such a great job of laying back and then sort of coming in and filling it all out. Number two is Mr. Parks Jr. Love the bass sound. He does most all of the singing on this album, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Looking for verification here. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So just the combination of the two things working together, just the sound of the bass and just his singing style, which threw me, I think, the first time I listened to this album because it felt like he was doing more talking than singing, but I changed my mind on that later. And my three, I mean, I started with this. This is the Alan Van Cleve show, ladies and gentlemen. I love everything he brings to the table. I mean, I feel like with the Rhodes, with the fiddle, he's the man that sort of creates that mood and that atmosphere that really sort of drives this album. So
Yeah.
I'm giving him all the votes.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, I guess if you're gonna say what sets this band apart, it's that role there that kind of makes them special. Having said that, he's not my 3 vote getter on this album. I'm going to give. I'm tempted to give two, but I think I'll just give one to the drummer. The drumming, we spoke about it, the sort of jazzy nature of the drums on the previous album. I feel like that's less prevalent now. I think it's much more just those straight driving, stompy beats on this one. So he's pulled back on that tendency to stutter and syncopate his way through a song, and now he's just straight down the line. And I think that's better. I think I prefer that style. As good as I mean, he was always good, but I think I just prefer it just a simple, straight drum beat because I think that leaves a bit more space, and the space is really one of the things that I love about this album. So 1 vote for him, more for what he doesn't do than what he does. I'll give Mr. Van Cleve too because yeah, as you said, that is kind of this unique selling point. The USP of this band is the work that he does with the keys and everything else that he brings as well. But I'm going to give my three because you identified him 2 albums ago, and because I've been watching his YouTube clips, probably. So he's the one that I feel I know best. Is the guitarist Ben McLeod. A nice mix of different guitar styles, acoustic, electric, and slide, and all done really well. And yeah, I think some of the best moments on this are just him on the guitar and not much else. So he has to get my three. But a great performance and wow, I mean, I've left off the vocalist and bass player out of my four, but yeah, a strong performance from all band members. But that's how I saw it.
Can I do a quick recap here?
Yeah.
So I just because I think that there's some drama here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, all right. So Alan Van Cleve wins the album by 1 point.
Oof.
By 1 point. Ben McLeod takes number two. But here's what I want to note is that Ben McLeod has continually been sort of dominating, and Alan Van Cleve has come out of nowhere. He
Okay.
is, yeah, he's just sort of. This is anybody's. This is anybody's to win. We're on album 3. We've got 3 to go. This could go anywhere. You got to stay tuned.
We're at the halfway point
We're at the halfway
with
point.
with potentially another one not far away. Apparently, they're in the studio with the new drummer recording a new album. So yeah, watch out.
Yeah.
I think that we're gonna be extended to we're gonna go into overtime here. Okay, not much more to add on this album.
It was great. It's my favorite of the All Them Witches albums
Yeah, certainly the best so far.
so
And I,
far.
my expectations is that they just keep getting better. So we'll see. Be interesting to know whether they start bringing back some of the more heavy stuff, or they stick with this acoustic Southern Gothic style. But yeah, I hope so. I really like
I'll,
the style on this album. Almost kind of very weighty, very emotional, in a sort of Nick Cavey way at times, or like that level of emotional pull. Not
I
necessarily in the
so
sound, but yeah, the way it grabs you.
so we're still one album away from the album that put them on my radar, where I started hearing about them, but I hadn't listened to
Mm.
them. It's that ATW album, which I think is the
Right.
5th album.
Yep.
And it was one of those bands where I was like, oh, okay, I need to make a point to go back and listen to these guys, and then didn't. And I think the reason we're listening to them, we brought them back in, is because you went to see them live, right?
Yep. I bought tickets and then thought, let's do them.
Right. So I have no idea where this is going to go, and I'm rooting for the Southern Gothic sort of metal feel. Like, I love this. Whatever they're doing here, I love this. But you actually know where they're going to go.
Well, kind of. I mean, it's a hazy memory. Well, it was
Okay.
hazy enough on the next day, but it's very hazy now. So I have a feeling they were heavy, but certainly heavier than this live. That was one thing that jumped out at me, or that I do remember from the gig, was like, oh, they're heavier than I expected. But part of me thinks that might have been because at that stage they already had changed drummer. So I'm wondering, and it felt, the new drummer felt a lot more driving and mechanical than what we've been hearing on the previous 2 albums.
Hmm.
So I do think there's some heavier stuff ahead, but we shall see. I was going to throw, before we wrap things up completely, I was just going to throw a little curveball suggestion in here that we can work through on the fly here. We are
Mhm.
now at the halfway point of this band's catalogue uh, at this point. And we've got a couple of albums from bands that were previously done that we've
Falling
been
behind.
meaning, so Paul Bearer released an album last year that we never actually got to because we
No.
started other things. We were already doing El City Sound System, and then we moved on to these guys. And there was another band that we did. I don't know if you even remember much about them. Remember we did Abrams a few years ago. They put a new album out in 2024 as well. So I'm wondering if you'd be willing to go with me on this and just have a little interlude before we get back to All Them Witches for the next three albums, which I think are going to be amazing. But I just thought maybe we take a breather and catch up on one of those other two, unless you just want to push through with All Them Witches.
No,
I'm happy to do that too.
I'm absolutely happy to do that. What's the last Abrams album we did? It was In the Dark, right?
Yep. And I think they've changed record label and maybe I really like their last album. It was the one before that got was on all the best of lists, and but I like the last album. Was
I
it?
did
Oh,
too. I
I
like
can't remember.
Modern Ways was the one that, yeah, got them all on all the best of lists.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So In the Dark was the last one we did. So we've not yet done Blue City.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Okay.
So I'd be
So
happy to
yeah,
do that. But I also really want to do Paul Weir because I mean they
I
were
do too.
great.
Well, I told you, and I can't remember, and I need to find the article, and we can put it in the listeners' notes. But I was reading an article about, I think it was a musician, and I'm pretty sure it was a guitar player, and he was talking about how
Some
Paul Bearer,
guy.
some guy, and he was talking about how Paul Bearer was one of the best concerts he had seen this year,
Mm.
and I thought, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But Paul Bearer released an EP called Mind Burns Alive.
Was that just an EP?
It's 6 songs.
Yeah, but that like 10 minutes each.
Yeah, true. That's fair. Okay.
I
Yeah.
think it's a
All right.
full album. Like,
Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay, let's do it.
you happy with Paul? I'm happy to do Abrams as well. If you
No, let's do both.
you want to do both?
Well, we can't do them at the same time,
No.
but I mean, we can.
Let's do one and then decide if we want to go back to
I think we
finish
should
off.
do. I think we should. Let's go ahead and grab these, and then we'll come back and pick up on sleep. All them, which is maybe if we slow this down, maybe their new album comes out before we finish.
Okay, and then we can finish off with that one.
Yeah,
Well, the rate we record, they'll have two albums out by the time.
that's true. We might have to step this up a bit.
So which one do you want to do first, Abrams or Paul Bearers? The listeners need to know because they need to know what they want to listen to, what they have to listen to next.
Abrams comes first alphabetically.
Okay, sold, and chronologically in terms of what we did as well. So
Yeah.
all right,
And
let's listen to the new-ish Abrams album, and then maybe Paul Bearer too, and then these All Them Witches albums aren't going anywhere.
Ghost released a new live album.
No, live albums don't count.
They're really leaning into that saxophone.
We got Kenny G has made a special appearance. I'll be seeing them in April, by the way. I think I mentioned that to you.
Yeah, you did. I would love to. I think that band would just. I think it'd be a good time. I think that'll be a good show.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, for sure. All right, listeners. Well, you know what you need to listen to next. You've got your homework for before you hear us next time. Is what's it called? Blue something.
Blue City.
Blue City.
With that said, I was, and I don't mean to. I'm just. And you can cut this, but I think I'm trying to figure out who the producer is on the next All Them Witches album. And I'm seeing that Dave Cobb plays percussion on track 3.
Who's
If Dave Cobb is this just awesome producer out of Nashville, and he does just like a slew of different types of music. And anyway, I'm a huge Dave Cobb fan.
Okay.
And I tend to try to, sometimes I get locked into producers and I'll listen
I'm a bit the same.
and he's one of them that just usually when I'll check out a new Dave Cobb produced album and it's just like, oh, okay, I'm all in on this. He's got this core group of musicians. So when he records sort of solo artists who don't have bands, he has this core group of musicians that will tend to fill out the sound, and man, they're tight. They're so good.
Okay.
So
anyone in particular you can recommend? Any album
of Dave Cobb?
Yeah.
Well, he does stuff. A lot of the stuff he's done is kind of got more of a country feel to it. He does a lot with wow. What the hell's
good
that
Americana playlists. Backyard stuff.
He does a lot like Chris Stapleton. He's done Sturgill Simpson. He's got a cousin called Brent Cobb, and he's done some stuff with him. Jason Isbell, the Highwaymen. You remember the band Rival Sons? I went on this journey where I was trying to find sort of like a good rock band.
Yeah.
And Rival Sons was one of them that I sort of dabbled into. He's done stuff with them.
Right.
I feel like he's done some heavier stuff, but I'm not coming up with it.
Okay. Well, just pick an album, we'll put it in the show notes.
Okay.
And we'll share that with the listeners. I do like a good producer myself, so that sounds exciting, but is he definitely the producer on the next album?
He's. I don't know if he is or not, but he's definitely. Okay. But I haven't found it yet.
All right. Well, we'll get to that. If he is, it'll still be waiting for us after we do.
Yes, Abrams. He is. He is the producer on All Them Witches, Sleeping Through War.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe
Oh
that'll
man,
force us to hurry
that's
through.
exciting.
We can hurry through Abrams and Paul Bearer and get to Mr. Cobb on the other side of all that.
Yep. All right. Sounds good.
Before we wrap things up, and I know you're in a hurry, but I do want to mention an email from our number one fan and longest listener, Metal Man Matt, who, he, I love it when we get some email. If you ever want to email us, listeners, we'd love to hear from you. unshuffledpod@gmail.com. Metal Man Matt said he started his own business. Did you know about this?
Yep.
And he's been very busy. So, but apparently he's still listening, and he's still our number one listener. So, hi Matt, thanks for sticking with us through all that busy time. He had a couple of questions if you want to quickly.
Let's do it. But a quick plug. He moved to Virginia. He's living in the Virginia area now, and he's for your heating, HVAC needs. Metal Mayor Matt he'll be there for you.
All right, we'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. There you go, Matt. Don't say.
I don't know if we
can
have
take
any
us
listeners
later.
in the Virginia area.
All right. Any publicity is good publicity. His question is, what Monster Magnet album is your go-to album? Not necessarily what is considered their best album, but what one is your favorite? He says his is God Says No, and Dopes to Infinity is his second. You got any thoughts on that, Scotty?
Did he make an assumption on what mine's going to be?
No assumption.
Oh, okay. None at all. I'm probably going to go with Dopes to Infinity as well, but I also really like Power Trip.
Power Trip's mine. It's very slick, I know, and some cringy film clips and stuff to go with it. But I love the sound of it, especially Space Lord. So beautifully recorded.
Such a great one. What one did he say? He said God Says No?
God Says No. Which one's got? I don't really know their older albums that much. Which one's got Negasonic Teenage Warrior?
Negasonic is Dopes to Infinity.
Okay, well,
right?
I really like that songs.
Yeah. That's Dopes to Infinity. That was sort of, I think that was their third album, but that was like the first time I knew of them. Right. I haven't listened to any of their new stuff. I'm actually really curious about the last couple albums.
The Spine of God, is that a more recent one?
That's the first one.
Oh.
What are
their more recent ones called?
A Better Dystopia is the newest one. And they've got Bob Pantella still playing drums.
Yeah. The Atomic Bitchwax connection.
Yep.
Well, they had. I mean, the man himself, Chris Kosnick, was on the bass for their last few tours. Sitting up the back, quietly playing along.
And Ed Mundell, who was also Atomic Bitchwax. Yeah. He's on Power Trip.
Yeah.
I don't remember who the lineup is for Dopes to Infinity, though. Yeah. Oh, that's Ed Mundell as well.
Okay. There's another question from Matt as well. He's asked the same question, and this one he has made a guess of your favorite. So he's asked, what's your favorite Corrosion of Conformity album? Oh. He's gone for Blind. And yours is?
What did he say?
In the Arms of God.
In the Arms of God, 100%. I love that album so much.
He's also guessed mine, and he doesn't even know me. There you go. Mine is Deliverance, and he guessed it without ever having met me. So did I guess correctly? Yeah, he nailed it. So
you nailed it.
You guessed correctly, Matt.
I like In the Arms of God. Stanton Moore plays the drums on that. Like that album. I'll often clean out my phone because it just gets cluttered with stuff, and so I'll just I'll clean out all the music and bring in new music. In the Arms of God is always on my phone.
Okay. Well, yeah, he knows you well. Nice guesses, Matty. You sound like you know me well too. So well done, and good luck with the business. And what was it? Heating in Virginia. Is that what it is?
It's HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Yeah, I know. I know the name of the company, or at least I have access to the name of the company, but I'm really
We'll
drawing
put
a
it in the
blank on
show
it right
notes.
now. Okay.
We'll put it in the show notes. All right. Yeah, good luck with all that. And thanks for emailing. And listeners, please, unshufflepod@gmail.com if you want. We will read your email out, trust me. Unless your name is Martin Popoff, in which case it'll go straight to spam. Sorry, Martin. Martin Popoff's books are very good, by the way, if you ever want to read. But he's also a good promoter, as I'm finding out. All right, that'll wrap us up. You've got a family to get to, and I've got a bed to get to. So let's wrap things up. Don't forget to the show notes. Eventually go on our website, which is unshufflepod.com. Although I think I'm a couple behind now. I better take stock over there and get the last couple of shows loaded there as well. We've gotten off Twitter now. We're on Blue Sky, so feel free to contact us there. Unshuffled Pod. I don't even know the full handle on Blue Sky, but you'll find us and just hunt around. We're there. And get off Twitter if you're still on it, please. It's no good. Thank you as always to Small Stone and Seven Planets for Seven Planets of the band that you hear in the opening and closing. The album is called Explorer. A few years old now, but lovely little stoner, instrumental stoner, groovy album. And the track that you hear is Vanguard, which I think is the first song on that album, but whatever, the whole album's good. So check that out too. Small Stone, a great label and friend of the podcast. I think that'll do us, Scotty. Thank you. Great album, this one. Let's have a little break from all them, which is as painful as it's going to be, but it's going to be great to come back to them in a couple of albums, and let's go hear what Abrams put out last year, and then Paul Barrett before we get back to them.
Sounds good. Thank you, listener. Thank you, Metal Mayor Matt. Thank you, Martin Popoff, and thank you, Matt.
Thanks, everyone. See you, Scotty.
See ya.